Welcome everyone to the Kendall Report. Tonight is going to be a special briefing. This is going to be a super fast video. I just walked in my office. I've been out of town all day. Didn't see a tick actually all day long, which doesn't happen very often in my life. But I am going to update you and tell you right now as we get started, I'm going to do a live stream at 1 o'clock tomorrow. We're all going to hang out with the Fed, and that I am going to give you some content, some thoughts coming in to the opening, but it's going to be super quick. We'll probably be around for about 15 minutes. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll get right into this. I'll spend a full 3 hours tomorrow, just like the old days. And those of you in the live room, we're going to meet in YouTube. There's just so much going on right now. I've got like too many deadlines. So this is the way we're going to do it tomorrow. And tonight will be brief. So let's go ahead and get into tonight's video. Just a couple quick comments here. You know, we're coming into the Fed. My expectation is they'll probably do as everyone's expected and how they told everybody what they're going to do. And the good news is, like I just said, we'll be hanging out tomorrow together, so we'll be able to go through it. And I promise you in that first hour I come in live that I'll go through a lot of details and some things that I am looking at from a macro level that are starting to add up. And we saw the markets just get hammered today. I just was looking at the charts. I did see prices off and on during the day, but couldn't focus on anything that was going on. Literally locked in a conference room for 7 hours today. So throughout pretty much the whole market day was that day for me. So, but what I'll do here is, like I said, I'm going to go through and just talk a little bit about what the Fed is going to do just to set you up. I suspect we got a pretty good bid in the markets thanks to Microsoft. There's a nice report coming out as I set you all up for. I talked about this one more decline into the moving averages that I talked about last night. We got that, and hopefully you got an opportunity to buy because there were some decent prices down there in the 39.20s, 30 down all the way to, I think the low yesterday, let me just take a look at that real quick. The low yesterday was down to 13, and anything down in that level was a bargain. We'll see if it follows through, but I think it will. I think we're going to see everybody on waiting for the Fed and all that goes on. But then we got a slew of earnings coming out. And I think Microsoft is probably setting the tone for this tech situation here and all of that. I glanced at some metrics out there. I did see housing starts missed as I expected. Most of everything down. The retailers getting hammered, right? The Walmart, Spotify was down like 14%. You name it, if it had to do with retail, that's happened. I'll just make this quick comment that just about everybody is on the narrative I've been talking about, hitting the wall. You know, everybody from IMF to you name it is reassessing their returns that they're expecting for, you know, going forward. And none of them are forecasting recession, which know that you should know that that's probably what's going to happen. But for the interim, you can almost fade them now that they're buying into that. Today was probably a buying opportunity that we're going to see probably follow through for a number of days. So doing a quick review, I'm going to jump. I haven't even looked at the database. So we're going to do this. Everything that you're going to see right now, I'm doing live with you. It's going to be bam, 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 and we're going to be out of here. So let's go ahead and get into the database. So somehow my sheet got jacked up, so apologize for that. Let's move it over so you can see the numbers. Telling you, this is on the fly, no setup. So we're at 77.92 bullish. We still had a positive rotation yesterday again, roughly 520 buy signals. We had 240 sell signals. So we had a net positive, especially on the model 1.2. So nothing here other than the short-term models are already really heavily in the market. And I'm just going to talk about this for a second, but the current duration is 10.79. So that's tells us we've got a ways to go in this database rotation on the short-term levels. I warned you this is going to be really quick. I want those of you should just get the indicators so you never have to worry about me missing. Just know there's going to be, in the next couple weeks, there are going to be disruptions to the channel because I'm going to be traveling and I will not be able to be here every night. We'll see how that works out when I get deep into that strategy. But I just want you to look at PPM2 is turned up. PPM3 is now, PPM1 is at a plus 0.37 on the S&P. And we're already trading right now, basically trading just above R2. So R3, 39.66, RTX, 39.79. I think we see a continuation of the bid. We'll see what the Fed does. And like I said, we're going to be hanging out together. So looking at the market grid right now, S1 is 39.09. I don't see us getting there, to be honest with you. We're probably going to be lucky where we're trading right now. The low overnight's been 38. So we've traded in the R spectrum, meaning in the resistance 39.36 to 51. We've been trading in R1, R2. So that's the way this market has just come in. And I suspect we're going to see more bias to the upside. Whether we get an RTX buy signal or sell signal tomorrow, we'll see how it plays out. But I just want you to have those numbers. Expectation coming in bullish, probably see us. I would be shocked to see a 39.09. Mainly because that would be a new low on this move. I think you saw the low yesterday, and we should see a number of days up. I've been talking about this pattern coming down back into the moving averages. Real quick, if you look at it, 39.01 was one of those averages that I talked about. That is really the extreme. We got down to 13. We traded down into the 10-day moving average. I talked about that as well. 39.20, the low 13. As we look at yesterday, that's today's values. Yesterday's value, you can see, look at the 10 was 39.05. So we basically traded to the 10, and we saw overnight we haven't gotten close to that number at all. So next market would be Nasdaq. Just know I'm just keeping everybody up to date. I know it's a big day we're coming into, so we'll be together. So make sure you watch the replay tomorrow, and I'll still do a live stream tomorrow night as well. There won't be any more disruptions from that standpoint. Nasdaq, same scenario. Nasdaq was down 1.87 yesterday. S&P was down 1.15. So we're basically seeing the markets just flop, not quite back fully, but we're back at up 130 at 1270. Same similar numbers that I talked about on the S&P. 12,023 was the 40 ppm. I'm sorry, 10-period moving average, 12,225. The low yesterday just below that, 12,119. I was telling you folks, if you get a chance to buy these averages, that's going to be the place where you're going to go. So you missed that. The next phase should be where we see, after tomorrow's action, we should see the market grid turn up, everything start to go higher. But just look for, I don't think we see an S1, but I think we're going to see R2, R3 on across the board on these indexes. Next, we'll cover the Russel. Russel, all of a sudden, still got a great profile, up 0.46 on ppm1, 0.11 on ppm2. We've got this little mini, what I call a dragon head, so we should see this start to resolve itself to the upside. There's some pretty tight parameters for today. We're looking at RTX. This is the RTY. So the RTX on the market grid is 1838. We're trading 09. It's going to be pretty simple to challenge that. I think tomorrow we should see plenty of volatility with Powell's conference and everything else we have going on, not to mention a ton of earnings coming out tomorrow as well. And there's some economic stuff. Like I said, we'll be together at 1:30 New York time tomorrow. Okay, next is the 10-year. We got that STX buy signal 2 days ago. We're continuing sideways. We did get down to 270. I talked about the 260 level. I thought that was pretty, or 269. Thought that's pretty ridiculous to get there, but we did it. Finished at 287. The long rates are still starting to decline here. So we're looking at the patterns look like they're going to continue to see that type of action. Now, I have not looked at the yield curve. We'll pop over there real quick. Yield curve flattened just a little bit, so nothing really to speak about there. But I do, like I said, I still see interest rates staying well under 3%, and I still see the back end of the curve continuing to decline a little bit while the front end goes up. We should see a 0.75 out of the Fed tomorrow. And all they're trying to do is get things normalized. And even if they get to 4%, they're still going to be behind the curve as far as the inflation goes. Next, we'll do crude oil. Crude just continues to be flat. I've talked about this over the past, let's say, week or so, that really what I'm seeing is that the demand destruction is starting to happen. I don't see crude getting much over 103, should stay above 92, maybe print down to an 85, but that, if you're a trader of crude, you're going to be wanting to be a buyer if you saw those numbers. That would be not quite as good as minus 40, but it's pretty good if you see those numbers. But the sideways movement should continue. We've just been kind of boxed into this market grid here for a while. And if I bring up the grid here, you'll see that the range right now, 94.83, 95.88. So 94.04 S1, R1 95.92. Next market is gold. Gold continues to just drift around here. It's kind of a sideways pattern as well. We're hovering right around the 10-period moving average. PPM1, from a formation standpoint, looks pretty good, but like I've talked about, maybe a set up a bottom. Possibly we could potentially get up to around 1850, 1860. And above that level would be a bullish mode, but I don't see that happening. We actually have a pivot in the pattern at 1828, and that's a pipe dream to even get there. Final market I'll cover is Bitcoin. Bitcoin continues to chop around 21,397. The pattern that we remain in is just very, very tight. Let me blow this up very quickly. The 40-period moving average, 21,133. We're trading right on that number. PPM-wise, we're actually still in a positive mode, PPM 1 and 2. So there is a slight uptrend, suggesting we could trade back to around 22,200. That would put us up about 1,000 from where we are right now. Nothing really earth-shaking here at all. So just as I promised you folks, it's going to be really fast. I am super tired, been up all day, had to drive across the state to do this meeting. So I am beat, tired, but just know I did this because I love you guys and I appreciate everything you do for this channel. And make sure you get the indicators. We'll see you all tomorrow, 1 o'clock New York time, 3-hour live stream. We're going to hang out and talk about the stupid crap that Paul's going to come out of his mouth and see what kind of market reaction we get. And we'll set up some of these stocks as well. I haven't done any stocks. So bring some stock ideas, and I'll cover some stocks as we go through that stream tomorrow. Anyway, folks, have a great day. Good day trading. We'll see you at 1 o'clock.